Good evening, everybody. It's David Schlotthauer here in the Tropical Weather Department with a tropical weather outlook and discussion live version for Friday, October the 18th, 2024. If you're watching this from the Caribbean, it is Saturday when you're seeing this. That would be midnight, because you are about 3 to 4 hours ahead of me where I'm at. Now, we still have 3 hours left of Friday to go through before we go into Saturday. So this is what we're dealing with. We have an area, potential tropical cyclone. This could get named. Actually, it's probably going to get named Nadine right before it makes landfall. So our letter N storm already on its way. And then, surprisingly enough, we have a little area that's trying to show signs of organization here. Would not be surprised if this tries to briefly develop. That's Invest 94L. Man, we're getting some surprise development out of these two waves. Well, one for sure, another one possible out there. There's not a whole lot of wind shear with these two waves, but let's zoom in and look. Excuse me. The air is very dry here, so that's why I'm coughing a little bit. I'm not sick, don't worry. Dew points here are in the single digits, as low as 2 to 3 degrees. So the air is desert dry, actually the driest it has been this whole entire year. So that's why I'm coughing up a little bit, but I'm fine, don't worry. So looking at 94L first, we can see a little closer here. This is Puerto Rico down here to the south. Actually, let me see if I could switch over. Hold on a second. Hold on. There we go. Make sure that's the right one. Okay, that is. So this is 94L that we're watching. That is north of Puerto Rico. This is to the northwest of, say, if you are in the Dominican Republic, or northeast of the Dominican Republic. Man, gotta get my my directions straight here. Yeah, been a long day, not from work, but just did not sleep a whole lot last night because the wind just kept me moving around. It was really strong last night. We lost our power. We lost our internet. We finally got that back on this afternoon. That's why I wasn't able to make a video. It was just too late. As I was leaving the house this afternoon, the power had just came back on. Yeah, from a windstorm. But yet we didn't lose our power on the 4th of February. But yeah, really windy night last night and today. But yeah, that's what we're watching, 94L, trying to show its signs of organization. But let's actually open up another tab and let's look at potential tropical cyclone. There we go. Let's go over here. And this is a little closer zoomed in view, and you can see this looks a lot more moist, doesn't it? We have a lot more deeper convection. We have outflow extending to the north of the system. If this was the one to go into the Gulf of Mexico, it would be another big problem to worry about. But good news is, well, not really good news, depending on if you're in the path of this. This is going to be going this way. So any United States landfall not expected at all anytime soon. Hopefully we don't get something like what Milton did, where we had something that looked like this. It came into the Gulf and then it just started to spurt up and then develop and moved on this way. I don't even see that happening either. So as far as the tropics go, looking pretty quiet. And this is going to be making landfall by tomorrow morning. So this will probably be the last update on the tropics, depending on what our area right here does, because we need to start looking at the United States. This is going to be kind of an everything live stream where we look at the tropics. We're going to have some game time, so we're going to have some fun tonight. I hope you guys are looking forward to that. And also, we're going to be looking at the United States weather too briefly. We're not going to go into a whole lot of detail with that. But the main subject is the tropics. So there is potential tropical cyclone 15 as we look at this. Let's go over here and look at the inner cone of uncertainty. And let's see. Is the experimental cone out? Okay. So yeah, there is tropical storm watches out. Winds of 35 miles an hour on PTC. So if you're in Belize, this is just to the north of Honduras, but you're getting quite a bit of rainfall, some of the outer bands, Guatemala. And if you're in, say, Mexico, just keep that in mind. Yeah, some inclement weather is impacting your area. And again, if this becomes a tropical storm, this would become Nadine. Okay, tropical storm Nadine would be a possibility here. In fact, it might be one by tonight. We'll see what the NHC does in their next update. Actually, no, they did one already, and it's still being held at a tropical depression. Let me make sure. Yeah, it's tropical depression. PTC number 15. And this is the second update on that one. And let me see what the chances are on it really quickly, because usually they put that out. Yeah, 80%. So there's 80% chance of that becoming a tropical storm in the next 24 hours. We go back and look at the cone one more time. Let's see. Yeah, so this, by the time I make a video tomorrow, it would probably be already on shore and bringing some inclement weather. So that would be this would be the only update on potential tropical cyclone 15. Probably have something out on Twitter if they do issue a more rapid update by tomorrow morning. However, we may need to watch this. If this goes orange tonight in the next NHC update, I will not be up for that. Actually, I might be up. I feel like it's Saturday. I don't know if any of you feel like it is Saturday, but to me it feels like Saturday. And that's, because I have to get up very early Sunday morning. And tomorrow's not that day, so that's good news there. But yeah, this has a 30% chance of tropical development by, as of the 8 o'clock update from the National Hurricane Center. So this was at 20%, actually went down to like 10 and 20%. Now it's 30%. And so the system does continue to show signs of organization, and we can see that right here with some spiraling bands. And there was a huge burst right about, yeah, right there. Huge burst of deep convection on that system. So yeah, it is trying to show signs, and we'll see if this does become anything brief at all. And if it does, I wouldn't be surprised. But now looking at the models as far as 15 goes really quickly. So this is your intensity forecast. And again, short-lived tropical depression or storm. Well, almost a tropical depression now. We'll see if it does get named briefly. Again, there's a slim chance of that occurring. I don't know what the models are doing after that, but they're going a little crazy if this survives its passage over the southern portion of the Bay of Campeche and the mountains of Mexico. And then when it reemerges over the eastern Pacific, it would probably get a different name. And that's what the models are showing here. But it would be interesting to have Nadine and see if they hold it. If it holds together long enough, it could just be Nadine even in the eastern Pacific. It would be the first time that happens since, I think it was Brett that did it. Oh no, wait, it was great. It was there was a couple of names out there that survived their passage over this portion of Mexico. Let's take a look at now 94. They're not even 94. Oh yeah, there it is. So 94 L, that is. Interesting enough, this is the latest output from the models. Still think this is going to become a high-end tropical storm, low-grade hurricane. I don't know. We'll see. Right now, that's what the models are showing. Anywhere between a 60-mile-an-hour tropical storm all the way up to as high as a mid-grade Category 1 hurricane on the latest model guidance on 94L. Now, as far as the track goes, this is kind of all over the place, but still thinking that this is going to kind of bend down to the southwest, get close to, say, Cuba, And then possibly does it go down here further, or will this make a really abrupt turn to the north? We will have to wait and see. But right now, there is no threat to Florida at all. I don't even know where Florida is on this map because it doesn't exist on this map. It is off the map as we speak here. So if you're worried about this hitting Florida, I would not worry at all. There's no concerns about this. Now, of course, on this model, Florida is barely in view here, but look at, there's not even one model that's even close of hitting Florida. But this could potentially deepen a little bit and then turn abruptly to the northeast. We'll see what how models will respond to its organization state over the next 24 hours, because it is showing a little bit of signs of organization here. And in fact, if we look at 94L a little closely on a infrared satellite imagery, you can see there is some of the deeper convection. Here's a new burst here. This is quite deep right in here. And if that deep convection is able to wrap all the way around, we might get something. We might get a little name storm here. What's up? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. How are you doing, buddy? How are you? I hope you all are doing great, by the way. Sorry about a few nights ago when I went live on that. That was not me. I was just an upset person, but I feel way better tonight. At least I've been trying to ignore the well, not ignoring the comments, but after with what happened, I'm just like, I'll let my moderators handle it, you know? By the way, my camera is not working tonight. Let me see what's going on. Because when we have our game night, I'm going to need to have some fun. Ah, that's why my camera was not plugged in. How crazy is that? There we go. It should be plugged in now. Weird that it was not plugged in. Come on. Are you going to work with me? Ooh, but it's blurry, so let me fix that. Why am I blurry? Why am I blurry? That should get fixed automatically. There we go. So, yeah, any questions on the tropics? Really not much to talk about tonight other than PTC number 15. Yeah, if this becomes our named storm and this becomes named, hopefully not, but if it does, that would be 16 named storms. Yeah, officially we are above average, both for ACE and number of named storms. If we can get to it, well, 15 does it. I think the average now, the new average is 14 named storms. And if we get to 15, which seems likely here, or pretty much at this time, possible to likely, it would be 15 named storms. Thank you, Angelina. Oh, man, I call you Angelina. I'll just say that. Yeah. So 94L may go between Cuba and Haiti. Yeah, some of the models are actually showing that. As we go and look at our GFS model right here. So there's our couple of systems. Let's go look at this. There's the big old fat ridge, this big ridge, this high pressure center. Over the eastern US, you can see there is 95L, well, PTC 15 now, and then there is 94L right there. We talked about this yesterday in my Promethean board discussion, and we will talk more about that in this live stream regarding the whole overall scope of things on what my final decision is on that. for right now, okay? So if this system does try to develop, it might do something like this. Might become our subtropical system out there. No threat to the eastern seaboard at this moment, but yeah, you can get a little bit of swells along the eastern portion there of, say, if you're in Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, if you're in Virginia, if you're in the Carolinas here. Man, that wind is strong tonight. Man, huge wind gust. Yeah, very windy last day or so. Really windy yesterday, really windy today. Luckily, our power's back on. Man, I don't know what I would do without power right now. But yeah, also really dry here too. I mean, desert dry conditions. Not so dry if you're in the deep tropics, so where it's kind of muggy or it's pretty humid. It's where it's supposed to be. All the humidity, not supposed to be very far north this time of the year. But that's the system, at least in the tropical weather world, that we're watching right now. And this becomes just a big doodad of a messy system. It doesn't have a very intense compact inner core structure, and it just kind of, all of its mess will pretty much approach, say, Nova Scotia if you are in, say, Newfoundland in the Labrador there of Canada. It's going to be approaching that area. And pretty much the tropics out here are looking pretty good. And based on our latest models, they will be done for a while. I don't see anything eye-catching out there in the GFS model or any other models that you might wish to look at. Now, we'll see about early November, but chances of another active period coming are still up in the air, so we're not for sure yet if we're going to get more tropical development in early November, but typically we do see at least 1 or 2 named storms in early November, late October timeframe. And here's that evolution. 2 systems that the GFS model is picking up on. Let's see what the 12Z showed this morning. See, there was barely much out there to worry about. And then there was another system here trying to develop maybe an inner core structure on that system. But over the last few model runs, really the GFS is like, I don't think we're going to see much in the way of development. And right now, that's probably why, unless probably we'll do tropical updates. And as long as this remains a threat, that's 94L there. We're not going to talk about this system anymore after tonight, though, since that's going to be making landfall by early tomorrow morning. But it's just going to be this system. Yes, we do have people that live in the Turks and Caicos. We do have people that live in Cuba, and we do have people that live in the Dominican Republic. I know a lot of viewers are not interested at watching this system, and I fully understand that. If I was in Florida, I'd be like, nah, this is nothing to be concerned about. Because if it goes here, it's going to impact Jamaica, but if it goes like this, it'll be our fish storm. Yeah, technically a fish storm unless it makes landfall on the Turks and Caicos on one of those islands there in the Bahamas. But yeah, pretty quiet, and it's nice, boy. Man, we can have a break because, boy, we had Milton, we had Helene, we had Debbie, we had Beryl. We pretty much almost all storms this year made landfall. Severe weather. Yes, so I am going to now, if this is the last update on the tropics for those people that are watching, not that I don't like doing US weather, but I like to have seasons on my channel. You'll probably recognize that. When I start the tropics for the season, I stick to the tropics. I don't like going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Think of it like an individual audience. So I have my tropical weather audience that watches my tropical weather stuff. I have my US weather people that like watching the winter stuff, the severe weather side of things. And so that's why some of you are probably like, David's ignoring us in the United States. I am ignoring you because we're still in tropical weather season, and until hopefully this little doodad of a system doesn't do much at all. But we're going to look at the US for a little bit, and if you guys have any questions, please let me know. So let me see with what we do have. I've been fixated on our fire weather back west. And right now, there's nothing really big expected in the United States as far as weather goes, at least in the next 10 days. Some people said there's a severe weather event. That's from Easy Peasy Lemon Squeezy. Actually, that could be your nickname, Easy. You could be Lemon. You could be a lemon. You're a citrus fruit. No, I'm just kidding. You're sour. I'm just kidding. You're probably laughing. You're probably laughing. But yeah, really enjoy you, Easy. You're easy to get along with. Get it? Easy. So yeah, I'm looking at the latest models right now, and I'm not seeing anything significant. Maybe I'm missing something, but this is more kind of a cold front that's going to be swinging on through across the Northeast. So that's not really going to be doing much. It's going to be pretty quiet, which, we could use a break. I could use a day off. I could honestly use a day off. Thank you, Sir Sire. Thank you so much. My laughs could be kind of weird. No, I'm not drunk, Jesse. Thank you for stopping the hurricanes, David. Well, say thank you to nature. We could end with Raphael. Yeah, well, that's going a little far. Been chilly here in Houston. Yes, that cold front. Yeah, I'm blaming that ridge for the same wind, offshore wind event. Actually, no, it's a separate ridge. Never mind. That we have had. Strong system went through yesterday. We actually got rain yesterday, and I'll tell you, I wanted to show you something with my weather station of what it captured yesterday. I think some of you are going to like that. Very interesting 4 seasons yesterday that kind of took place. But it doesn't look like we're going to see maybe another patch of colder air. Actually, this is more likely going to happen. It's been consistent of the GFS, so another fall cool down coming. Well, look at back to the races again, going to warm right back up for the Midwest. And some of the climate models are not looking good. Probably one of the warmest falls on record potentially. Sorry, I had tomato soup. Going to be really warm potentially to end out October. Models are going all over the place though. And there seems to be some solutions though. This area over here in the Midwest and the upper Midwest could see some really warm temperatures. And I mean, these temperatures are well above average for this time of the year. If that's not enough, we look at our overnight temperatures, 73 degrees. That's not even fall at all. And your daytime highs would be in the mid to upper 80s. So really warm, maybe even some upper 80s to near 90 degrees there in, say, Missouri and maybe in Illinois. But this is really far out, 312 hours out. So I would not really put a lot of reality into it. But it does show us what some of the models are potentially showing us. And if we look at our ensembles showing us the same thing, doesn't look very cool. So if you guys are hoping for some fall-like weather, probably not going to come soon enough. So that quick cool down there on the ensemble forecast, and look what happens. Yep, it's going to be warm. Going to be really warm. And across the West, we'll have some cooler weather. So we get some fall weather, and the Midwest is going to see more like late summer-like temperatures. Yeah, it's only a marginal. Yeah. I'm not going to take a break. I want to finish strong in October. I'll probably take the day off on Sunday, the 20th, but I'm going to be uploading pretty much every day. We'll see. It's a day-by-day basis. It just depends on the demand and what needs to be out there. But yeah, I'm going to try to remain consistent, though, because I know there's other YouTubers. No, I'm not copying people, so don't tell me I'm copying people. But there are other YouTubers that just update every single day. I'm I think, yeah, Weatherman Plus, Max Velocity, let's see, Mr. Weatherman, Direct Weather. There's more people out there. Oh, yeah. Also, who is it that updates every day? Pal Pondron Weather uploads every day. And Ryan Hall, y'all, even does every couple of days. So I'm going to do at least every other day for next week, if not every day. Yeah, if you guys are new to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. Because I'm a US weather person. I live in the US, so I have to keep an eye on the weather for you guys. Just because I've ignored it does not mean I don't like tracking the weather in the United States. I have, again, the seasons. I've talked about this many times. I have the tropics that we cover from the 15th of May all the way through at least until the middle to the end of October. This time of year is more questionable. Some Octobers are much more active throughout the whole month, and some Octobers it's just really busy in the early part. This is kind of one of those cases where we're seeing some activity now, but the brunt of it really came through in early October when we had good old stupid stinking Milton that rapidly intensified. So, actually, you know what? For my personal preference, I want to see how our La Nina is doing. Yeah, I've been so much on the tropics, I've just ignored what I should be doing out there. So let me look at the SOI. Interesting. The SOI is not really favoring La Nina. Still not favoring La Nina. And honestly, people are saying, oh, we have a La Nina. It's a weak La Nina. Honestly, I take this into consideration. Our SOI, which measures pressure differences in the equatorial Pacific between Tahiti, or which is what we call Papatiti. I think that's what you call Papatiti Island, and Darwin, Australia. When you have lower than normal pressure in Australia and higher than normal pressure in the Central Pacific, you usually get a La Nina. Vice versa, when the pressure index is reversed, when lower pressure is in the Central Pacific and higher pressure over Australia, it's usually an El Nino. In atmospheric sense. And right now we are trying to develop that La Nina, but the atmospheric state is just not cooperating, just not mimicking that of a La Nina just yet. Probably explains why we had kind of a diluted hurricane season in September, just not really exceptionally busy until we got Helene towards the middle to the end of September. Actually, we had, yeah. And then, of course, I think the Atlantic was just so warm that the atmosphere was just a little too stable, and the intertropical convergence zone was just a little too far north. But hey, let's not ignore it. Yeah, these water temperatures right here in the deep tropics are still very warm. These are about 2 degrees Celsius above the long-term average. And in fact, if we looked at a global standpoint, you could probably argue which basin has the warmest sea surface temperatures. And your answer to that is, quite frankly, pretty much or very close to it, which would be the Caribbean and the southwestern Atlantic. Quite anomalous. And then, of course, really warm waters in the western Pacific basin. That's where the warm pool usually hangs out at. But more interestingly, I'm interested on this up here, how this is going to play a role. Oops. Right up in here. Been pretty cool. This classic cold PDO setup. Man, if we can get more systems that develop out of this region, really cool things off here, we could have a really busy winter season perhaps over the western U.S. Because if you think about it, with these waters that are this warm, this far north in the northwestern Pacific. Your jet stream is actually going to be further north here. And then on average, we're going to get more trophiness. So our low pressure systems get further south than usual in Northern California, which explains why this winter outlook does paint a picture of being below average for the winter season coming up. And winter is not officially here until December, mid-December in relative sense. And when we look at our temperatures so far, oops, I did not even know they give us the heat potential. Pretty cool that this is actually available. Guess this is the latest. Okay, people like to make noise, don't they, with their cars these days? So this is a look at the last 30 days? Yes, this is the last 30 days. It's been really warm. It's been really warm in the United States. So, yeah, people saying, oh, we got a little bit of a cool down recently. Look at how the last 30 days have been. It's been actually slightly warmer than average. Very warm across the northern tier. So, yeah. Still waiting for some cooler weather. Yeah, in my relative sense, based on the convective signal, I do believe we're still in a weak El Nino pattern. In my personal opinion, the atmosphere is delayed, especially from this switch off that we had. When we had a really oppressive El Nino, it can take up to a full year for the atmosphere to respond to the current La Nina that we're seeing. So don't be surprised if we don't get a full-fledged La Nina kind of pattern this winter. Man, not trying to burp here. But we end up seeing more of a neutral to weak El Nino pattern setting up instead. And the reason why I say that is if we actually go over to our weeklies, let's go to our weeklies and let's go over to our heights. We go and play this through. You can see how our pattern really evolves. More trophiness back west here through the end of the month, more ridging. This has been the thing recently, keeping a lot of areas really dry. Ethan B was telling me how bad the drought is in Ohio and in northern Kentucky, even southern portion there of Indiana, in extreme drought. Some areas in exceptional drought. Not what you want to hear. You don't want to hear that very much. And it's unfortunate because, well, look at the pattern here. That ridge is going to stay on top of you all probably through the rest of this month. It doesn't begin to change, hopefully, and really doesn't do much of anything through at least the middle of November. But of course, this is the European model version of the atmospheric forecast. So therefore, each run is going to have its own way of forecasting. And we just don't know how this is going to play out. But it doesn't look too bad for the West. Going green here for California. We could use more rain, actually, after the drought or after the dry north winds that we have had. Looks like it's going to be dry until at least December. Well, as long as we get rain in December and in the peak winter wet months, we're fine with that. But it doesn't look too promising at all, at least through the end of October. Really going to be dry here, perhaps over the next, look at this. Throughout the middle of November, pretty dry here for the southeastern U.S. So talk about not much rain, probably not going to happen because of a lot of ridging, upper level ridge pattern that is extending, that is continuing through that area. Now, we'll get to questions here in just a second. Yeah, so here's the control run. Boy, this would be something. This hits California big time low pressure system. And I'll tell you, California is going to get some luckiness. And then I don't know what the European extension control run is on. Boy, big bowling ball low impacting that area. And then, of course, we'll see about California down the road. But that's really far out in time. That's pretty much my experimental version. If you really want to look way out into the future, that's one way to do it. All right, so I wanted to show you all my weather station because something interesting actually did happen yesterday on the station. Let's go to the 17th just really quickly. Look at how high our dew points were before that north wind event started. We had dew points in the mid-50s, upper 50s. In fact, it felt muggy yesterday. We had tropical-ish clouds. It was just kind of the weirdest thing, kind of a monsoon look to the sky. We did have some rain. Now, it's not reported on here, but on my Tempest, we did get 0.04 of an inch of rain, and the ground was pretty wet. So once that went through, look what we ended up getting. This north wind event, very strong, in fact, yesterday or last night, where we had dew points dropped all the way into the mid-20s. It was really, really dry all last night, where we had dew points in the low 20s and gusts in the 30s, really strong, enough to blow down some branches and stuff, and it stayed that way. We didn't get below 50 degrees last night. Even with the wind, that was pretty strong. And then look at how strong it got today, up to 35 miles an hour. And look how low the dew points got, down to 18, even 16 degrees. And so the air is just very dry, and this is drying out our fuels and leading to more aggressive fire behavior potential out of this, and still getting that northwest wind. It's going to be windy all night tonight again. We're seeing a little bit of a lull, but the winds are expected to increase yet again tonight, especially over the western side of the valley. We could see wind gusts still in the 40s and 50s tonight, and that's just going to be bringing more drier air. It's just, this is not good at all. So yes, there is fire behavior or fire danger happening somewhere in the United States, and it's in California where I live. Yep, you name it. There was a lot of fire conditions or red flag warnings up here, I think it was yesterday, over the northern tier of the United States because of cooler air mass, that ridge of high pressure. Actually, southerly wind it was. Yeah, you guys get southerly wind, and it can be really dry here for the Midwest. But yeah, you come to California, southerly winds for us always inevitably bring a lot of moisture to our region. We never get a very dry south wind. It's always moist unless it comes out of the east here, and then it kind of comes up the valley from the southeast. But usually our north winds end up being really dry, and that's what we have. So yes, fire weather conditions still continue, you name it, through 5 p.m. Saturday. Still looking at some strong winds, potentially up to 65 mile an hour wind gusts for the higher elevations. That's enough to bring down power lines that could start fires, that sort of thing. But thankfully, we have not had any fires yet. So, all right, easy peasy lemon squeezy. So I don't know what you're trying to refer to me, easy peasy. I don't see any new messages. So you told me to check Discord, so what do you want me to check on? But yeah, by the way, you're probably seeing some nice weather conditions, easy peasy, except overnight lows definitely on the chillier side. Thanks to that high pressure system, yeah, probably getting the autumn colors already. Yeah, Angela, why do... Man, I always keep on calling you Angelina. Oh my goodness. It literally, the wording, it just looks like the name is Angelina because of the blue font. That's why the blue font from this distance. So it's Angela, 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 Angela. I'll say your name many times. And in fact, I can do this. Angela, you got to answer yes. And I'll just keep on calling you Angela. Angela? Yes. Angela? What? Angela? David, stop calling my name. Angela? Oh, okay. Oh, you meant... Okay. So what's the new area? Is 15. Actually, you know what? I realize I was in a rush to make this last thumbnail, but the new, well, it's not really a new area, but it's 15. But I meant to put, literally, and I could actually change it if I really wanted to, is actually put the new, put 2 areas. I meant to put 2 areas, not new area. If you guys want me to change that, I could. Actually, let me do that really quickly. A chance you guys get to actually watch me do my thumbnail really quickly. All right, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I will do that. So let me just change this really quickly. There we go. I think I fixed it, right? Now seems more on point. I wanted to get the thumbnail made and everything before I ate really quick, and so that's probably what happened. So let me just export this. Okay, so that's done. And then I have to go in here and then just update the thumbnail because I cannot save it in 4K. YouTube does not like 4K thumbnails.